Hi everyone, I'm Kevin Elson, and Jay and Father Reed unfortunately are not with us today, but we have Bonnie Rogers joining us, and she's going to tell us about two great guests on the show today. Bonnie?
I am, Kevin, and I'm glad to be here. We have two wonderful guests. Rob Kaczmarek is here from Spirit Juice Studios, and our good friend Tim Horahan is back to talk about the wonderful work at St. Mary's Parish in Westfield, Massachusetts.
It's going to be a great show. Please stay with us. This is The Day starts right now. Hi everyone, welcome to the show. I'm Kevin Elson along with Bonnie Rogers, involved in marketing and programming here at Catholic TV, and Father Reed. Jay off today, but they'll be back on Friday. But we still have a great show to get to today. But we want to talk first about the exciting new season that is in progress right now. We have a lot of great news shows that are premiering throughout the fall here. And we're going to be sort of highlighting that coming up in the telethon a little bit later on. But maybe some of you, tell us some of the new shows that are out there right now, Bonnie.
We have some great new shows this season, and I hope you've had an opportunity to see some of the premieres. 1 Billion Stories with Seth D'Amour is just fabulous. Just to know that you're joined in faith to 1 billion Catholics around the world, and Seth is going to introduce you to many of them. And a wonderful new series with Dr. Anne Orlando from St. John's Seminary. She was a student of ours along with us at the master's program, and she does a great job. Even though we were students, I don't think I could host that program. Could you?
Well, she got a little more education than we did. She continued on.
That's it. That's it. That's it. She
is professor now.
She just did a little bit better. So that's a great new show, and we're excited about that. Dr. John Clabeau returns with another series, and so we're excited about that. And of course, you know, September we launched, and we'll close the month and open October with the telethon.
Yeah, that's right.
No one said
anything about tests or anything. You know, well, I was thinking too, we're going to be starting off October too with the new Roman Missal show as well with Monsignor Moroni. He's going to be here, and that's a great show that we can look forward to as we approach Advent, when we'll start the new Roman Missal here in the English language. So that's exciting as well. So lots to get to over the course of this. And you mentioned the telethon, and we are in the process of putting that together right now. And in fact, we have a group coming in that people may be, if they watch Going My Way, they might recognize a group that they'll be seeing on the telethon. Father Riley will be here. He's on the Springfield, Massachusetts
diocese. That's right. The 413 is representing here. We got Tim here from the 413, myself, and of course, Father Fran Riley, who I went to grammar school with.
Wow, that was just a few years ago,
Just a few years ago. School's torn down now.
But he's here. He had a great group that came in for Going My Way.
Wonderful guys, yeah.
Sort of like an Irish folk type group, and they had I can't remember canantina or something like that. I forget the name of that instrument. It was like a
yes,
squeeze box.
Concertina.
Concertina. That's right. One of those play concertina.
Squeeze box,
yeah. And so it's a great group, and they're going to be on the telethon as well. Mike Mangione and the Union as well, a great young group that was in here. We get a chance to tape them, and they went on to World Youth Day in Spain, but a wonderful group that's going to be coming up. You'll be able to see them on the telethon as well. So great guests, and an opportunity to showcase what we're doing here at Catholic TV. So it's coming up September 30th, Friday, and October 1st. Which is the feast day of St. Therese Lisieux, our patron saint here at Catholic TV. Yeah. Well, we're going to take you now, even though Father Reed's not here with us physically today, he is here with us in spirit and in Rome as well.
Can't wait. Can't wait.
We're going to take a look at one of his Viaggi a Romas, and we're going to travel now, and I believe it's the Swiss Guard barracks.
Our favorites.
Well. Yeah,
our favorite guys, yeah.
So let's take a look at that, and we'll be back in just a moment. Enjoy.
Hey, back to Rome. I'm Father Reed. Ciao, everyone. We're here in Vatican City. Actually, we're in the barracks, and I'm with a distinguished member of what is perhaps the best-dressed militia in the world. Erwin, great to be with you.
Thank you.
Oh, it's wonderful, wonderful to see you. You know, January 22nd, 1506 is the official date of the birth of the Pontifical Swiss Guard. And on that day, towards the evening, a group of 150 Swiss soldiers entered the Vatican for the very first time and were blessed by Pope Julius II. You remember that day, don't you?
No.
You're not that old, okay. Hey, don't be fooled by the designer duds. Under these bright baggy bloomers and the tilted beret stands a lean, mean fighting machine, as well as a courteous helper of lost and curious tourists. What's like the most common question that people ask?
Yeah, the most common question, of course, is where is the Sistine Chapel?
Yeah.
Where we can get tickets for the Pope's audience. So that's how it is.
That makes sense. Now you have some requirements. You have to be Swiss, obviously. What else?
Of course, you have to be a Swiss citizen. You have to do first your base training within the Swiss Army.
Okay.
You have to be taller than 174. You need to have a professional degree or a higher school degree.
And you have to be willing to sacrifice your life for the Holy Father.
Yeah,
too.
there is the assermentation ceremony every 6th of May.
Okay.
And there the new guards are swearing, if it's necessary, even to sacrifice the life.
And you keep guard at all the entrances. You're there for liturgical celebrations in St. Peter's Basilica, the general audiences, during the visits of the Holy Father by heads of state or governments, foreign ministers and ambassadors. The Swiss Guard is right there, and the main weapon is?
You may mean that's the halberd.
The halberd, that's it.
But it's not, it's a part
not.
of the uniform.
It's a part of the
as
uniform.
the sword is. But the commander says always the first weapon of the guard is to speak.
To speak.
And
Isn't
then
that interesting?
to touch. And then you have other weapons, but I can't tell you.
Okay. I want to ask, we won't go there. And the people think it's been designed, the uniform, by Michelangelo, but it's not true. But that's another story for another day. Hey, the Swiss Guard do answer many questions with poise and sometimes even oftentimes a smile. And it was an undercover guard, I think, who helped Pope John Paul II during the assassination attempt back in May of 1981 at St. Peter's, wasn't it?
Okay, yes.
Of course, because you've sworn to protect the Holy Father. The Papal Swiss Guard tradition has been marching on for over 500 years right now. Continuously active military corps, the longest one in history, numbering how many men?
110.
110. The Swiss Guard may be the world's smallest army, but they're one of the coolest. From the barracks of the Pontifical Swiss Guard with Erwin. Ciao, amici. Ci vediamo presto.
Ci vediamo presto.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, thanks to Father Reed as well as the Swiss Guard for letting us get in there, getting some access into there, and actually finding out a little bit about the Swiss Guards that many people don't know too much about. They see them, but they don't know too much about them, and that was a pretty impressive.
Very impressive, yeah.
I don't know, weapon or something like that.
And Irvin, a good friend to us, he was right here. He
Yes,
came
that's
and
right.
visited
They came
us.
in on
Great
This
guy.
Is the Day. Yeah. So if you go over to the Vatican, say hello to the Swiss Guards for us. Right now, we have joining us is Rob Kaczmarek of Spirit Juice Studios, who's here to tell us about his inspiring new film, pro-life film, To Be Born. And we're happy to have you here, Rob. Thanks for being with us.
Thanks for having me on. I really appreciate it.
If you could start off by telling us what made you decide to do the film, To Be Born.
Sure. Well, I was approached by Father Stephen Lesniewski. He's the executive producer for the film. And what it is he's been doing pro-life ministry for over 20 years. And the past 10 years, he's used this. It's called A Letter from an Aborted Child. And it's a pretty graphic description from the child's point of view of what goes on during the abortion. And so he's used this for 10 years outside of clinics. And he claims that over 500 babies were saved from it. And so he wanted to do something on a bigger level and make a film. So he approached Spirit Juice Studios to create it. And so I took the role in as director, and it was, an issue that initially I think I would consider myself, just sort of an average Catholic. I knew, abortion was wrong, but I didn't really know exactly, all the details of it. And so as I really started making the film, I learned just the horrors of it. And Father Stephen actually recommended to watch this video, which was literally just a medical procedure of an abortion. He's like, this is what it is. You could check it out. And it shocked me beyond belief, and so much so that that I felt the need to, when creating this film, to really show the emotional insanity of what goes on when you know during that procedure. And so we've created a very a strong piece. I say that, and we've had a lot of flack from this film. We've had a lot of people that like it, but we've had a good amount of people that say this is very intense. And I think we kind of went into that knowing that. I mean, you don't make a film on abortion that everyone's going to like. It's just not an easy subject to talk about.
Yeah.
Rob, the young woman in the film is seeking an abortion, and as you said, the movie is very graphic, as is the procedure. And Father Steve's work is certainly well known in this regard. But how do you see the film as saving lives and preventing abortions?
Well, God's grace is pretty remarkable. It was starting to save lives even before it was finished. When you're making a film, you go through several rough cuts, and so as I would complete these different rough cuts, I'd give them to Father Stephen, and I'd be like, okay, make sure you don't show these to anyone. He's like, okay. And then he'd come back and be like, okay, I'm sorry, I showed it to someone, but this woman, she was going to have an abortion, and I showed it to her, and now she's not going to have it. I'm like, all right, well, that's okay, And so he's been, it's already saved lives before it was even finished. I know he continues to go in front of these clinics every day, and every time I talk to him, there's another story of someone else that that watches film that decided to keep their baby. I don't have a tally of how many as of right now, but I know it's definitely saved some lives.
You talked a little bit, Rob, at the beginning too about how you would just regular Catholic, but so talk about the experience of doing this film and going through this process and what it has done with you in your faith life, and what you hope to bring to people who actually watch the film.
Sure. Yeah, it really did a lot in my life as far as when you're making something like this, you really need to get you need to educate yourself as much as you can, so you can execute it properly. And so I learned just not only all the medical side of things and all the different types of procedures, but just the business side of abortion. And there's just so much money that's the reason abortion isn't going away just because it's wrong. There's so much money involved in it, and there's just so many. It's a horrible thing that I've become so passionate about for making this in the sense that I don't know. It's a very strong issue to me, and I think that this film could help show people the reality of what actually goes on during the abortion and during the procedure. And it's not something that's just a you're in and out sort of thing. It's a horrible experience for the woman and obviously for the child. I mean, they're being dismembered, and it's pretty bad. And I'm not really I'm more of a lighter, happy-kind-of-go-lucky guy, and so this sort of thing is a bit of a darker side to kind of show.
Absolutely. The procedure is really horrifying, and certainly people don't know from mainstream media just what a devastating experience it can be. But on a lighter note, you're very active in certainly social media, and we have one of the winners of your recent Twitter contest, Tim Horahan, is with us, and he won a Spirit Juice prize.
That's right,
so you're very active in that arena as well. So tell us, where can people learn more about the film and Spirit Juice Studios?
Sure. You can learn more about To Be Born at tobeborn.com. You can watch the film for free online, see all the behind-the-scenes footage, order a DVD. If you want to learn more about Spirit Juice Studios, which is, I work there, I'm the production manager. It's a Catholic production company. You go to spiritjuicestudios.com.
That's great. Thanks so much for your time, Rob. We love your work, and we look forward to seeing you at the Catholic New Media Convention. And we're going to turn it over to Kevin now for the news. Take care, Rob.
Thank you very much.
Thanks. So, Kevin, what's going on in your world?
All right, thanks, Bonnie. Hello, everyone. It is time to take a look at the news, and we begin with news from around the country. Sunday, of course, marked the 10th anniversary of the 9/11 terrorist attacks. Catholic News Service's Chaz Muth spoke with a flight attendant who lost a friend and co-worker when the plane crashed into the Pentagon, a New York City firefighter, the former Archbishop of the Military Services, and a volunteer at the United Flight 93 Memorial in Shanksville, Pennsylvania, about their reaction to the tragic and historic day.
I think right after 9/11, the country changed. I think everybody was maybe a little more patriotic, maybe a little kinder to each other, and I don't know. I don't know if it's changing back to not being that way anymore.
This woman's concerns resonate throughout the nation on the 10th anniversary of the September 11th terrorist attacks. U.S. citizens say they want to learn from this tragedy, as well as gain gratitude and a sense of reality. People were reminded of the sacrifices made by many, including the rescue workers and the passengers aboard Flight 93.
They did what was theirs to do. May we grow in finding what is ours to do. May we be more in touch with what is for each of us our passion in life and how that is expressed in our compassion for others, particularly those most in need.
It's good that we stop, we think, and that everybody should always remember, because our lives were changed.
I think our lives have been awakened to tenuousness of human existence, and we're just doing all we can humanly, and then pray to the good God that it doesn't happen again.
Many times we're put in very difficult situations, and there are a few times that you're not really sure what the outcome is going to be. And I think sometimes it's just that faith that, that God's putting us where we're supposed to be.
No, I will not allow the terrorists to change my way of life. And I think that's evident in what the people who were on that plane did. They said, no, we're not going to take this. And so I try to live my life the way I think I should because of their sacrifice.
For Catholic News Service, this is Chaz Muth.
Looking now at news from around the world, though the Colombian government and leftist rebels have been at war for half a century, the country's Catholic Church is actively involved in efforts to bring peace. Father Juan Molina, director of the U.S. Bishop's Office for the Church in Latin America, recently visited the predominantly Catholic nation and said he was impressed by the Church's involvement in efforts to reach a settlement between the warring parties. Rebels claim they are defending the country's poor. However, their efforts are financed through drug trade, kidnapping, and extortion. And they also have been accused of widespread human rights abuses. The Colombian government is also committing human rights abuses and uses military approach to the conflict over negotiations, but they argue their actions are aimed at maintaining order and stability to protect the rights of citizens and private companies. Father Molina visited the country's capital, Bogota, in the Armenia region in the west central Colombia in late August to see how assistance from the USCCB was being used there. While there, he attended an administrative meeting of the Latin American Bishops' Council known as CELAM and visited a seminary supported by the USCCB. Church leaders have served as intermediaries in talks between the government and rebels. However, Colombia's last two presidents have refused to talk to the guerrillas, whom they call terrorists. In other news from the Vatican, the United Kingdom has a new ambassador to the Holy See, and last week, Pope met with him to discuss many issues, including climate change. Rome Reports has more on their meeting and the restoration of Vatican and British relations.
The Pope met with Nigel Marcus Baker, the new British ambassador to the Holy See. The two were able to sit down for a discussion on relations between the UK and the Vatican. It's only been 30 years since diplomatic relations were created, but the two discussed how far they have come. Most notable was the trip made by Benedict XVI to the UK in 2010. They also discussed more pressing issues, such as climate change.
It's possibly the greatest threat facing humanity. Our relationship with the planet, the development, global warming, and we need to be able to tackle it. And we need not only to be able to tackle it in political terms, but also that sort of moral input from the Holy See.
The ambassador says other areas of collaboration will be fighting the illegal trade of firearms, as well as working with aid agencies to help fight hunger and poverty. Ambassador Baker comes to the Holy See after a long career in diplomacy, serving mostly in Latin America. His new post will focus on British and Vatican relations and how the two can work together towards similar goals.
And finally in the news, the U.S. bishops are encouraging Catholics across the country to tell the Obama administration that contraception and sterilization do not constitute preventative care for women and must not be mandated as part of health reform. With their new website, www.usccb.org/conscience, the bishops hope to generate thousands of comments to the Department of Health and Human Services about its proposal that would require nearly all employers to provide sterilization and all FDA-approved contraceptives at no cost to women covered by their health insurance plans. The 60-day comment period on the HHS proposal closes on September 30th. The site also asks Catholics to tell their members of Congress to co-sponsor and pass the Respect for Rights of Conscience Act. The act would guarantee the protection of conscience rights to in all aspects of implementation of the Patient Protection and Affordable Care Act. It was proposed in the House of Representatives this spring and introduced in the Senate in August. Cardinal Daniel DiNardo of Galveston, Houston, is chairman of the U.S. Bishops' Committee on Pro-Life Activities. In a letter to Congress, he said, respect for rights of conscience in healthcare has been a matter of strong bipartisan consensus for almost 4 decades. Well, that is all the information we have for you on this Tuesday, September 13th, 2011. We're going to take a quick break here. We'll be back talking with Tim Horahan in just a moment.
Our family has spanned the centuries and the globe. With God's grace, we started hospitals to care for the sick. We established orphanages and helped the poor. We are the largest charitable organization on the planet, bringing comfort to those in need. We educate more children than any other institution. We developed the scientific method and founded the college system. We defend the dignity of human life and uphold marriage. Guided by the Holy Spirit, we compiled the Bible. We are transformed by sacred scripture and sacred tradition, which have guided us for 2,000 years. We are the Catholic Church, with over 1 billion in our family, sharing in the sacraments and fullness of the Christian faith. Jesus started our church when he said to Peter, the first pope, "You are rock, and upon this rock I will build my church." So if you've been away from the Catholic Church, we invite you to take another look. Visit CatholicsComeHome.org today. We are Catholic. Welcome home.
And joining us now is Tim Horahan talking about a great praise and worship night tour. And first of all, Tim, good to have you here with us.
Thanks for having me.
If you could start off, maybe just tell us a little about this upcoming concert and what it all means here coming up.
Yeah, we have on September 18th at St. Mary's Church in Westfield, Mass. We have a concert of We Are the Beggars Tour, which is with Ike and Dolo Band, Audrey Assad, and then we also have Annie Hickman from Adore Ministries, who will be giving a talk and sharing the word during the show.
Excellent.
So it should be an excellent night. We have an absolute packed house already.
Oh, great.
We still a handful of seats still left.
Yeah, yeah.
But it should be a fabulous evening.
Excellent.
Tim, you know, I'm a former director of religious education, and you know, getting junior high kids and high school kids involved is always, you know, difficult in different events. But I heard you have over 500 kids, 5 parishes participating in this We Are the Beggars Tour event?
Yeah, that came about by when I first started putting this together. My pastor, Father Brian McGrath, to give him all the credit, because he basically pointed me to one of the parish priests that said that would want to get involved, and it was Our Lady of the Lake in Southwick. And it just happened to be, we had September 18th as a date. That's also Catechetical Sunday in Western Mass. So it was kind of like it started the ball rolling. It was like I got them, and it was 7th graders up through their confirmation class. They're bringing all their kids. And it was kind of like, then we went to our sister church, which is Blessed Sacrament in Westfield, and I had them, and that was kind of like, okay, God, I got the idea. You know, and from there we just built, and I just started working with a bunch of the other ones, which, I was a former CCD teacher myself, I knew in some ways for that first Sunday, going back to Sunday school, this is, to be honest, this will be a Sunday school one that the kids are not going to forget.
Yeah, that's great. That's great.
Now that it's a concert, but there's faith formation as well. Maybe if you could talk about that and how the faith formation ties in.
Yeah, how it really works is, you know, we did our first ever event last Christmas with Sarah Hart, and that was kind of in some ways my own learning curve. it's catechetical by itself. I mean, this ministry that I started, Praise, Witness, and Worship, with a few other people, is they're catechetical events by the fact that you're bringing in a big Catholic artist who's sharing their music, but within sharing their music, they're sharing with their faith of why they wrote a certain song and where it points them. Maybe it points to them about the sacrament of reconciliation, or maybe it points to them about where they've, where they've been in their faith walk and why they wrote it. And especially when you're speaking with teens and young adults, music connects on almost every level. And to bring that in, and it's kind of like you get their attention and bringing them in. And the big part of this event is Annie Hickman from Adora Ministries, who's just a fabulous speaker by himself. Yeah. And I mean, he's spoke in front of, like, for Steubenville East and Steubenville West. I mean, he's been one of the speakers. When Steubenville East was just a couple years ago, he was the one there for Life Teen for the one in Rhode Island a few years ago. So it's one where I'm kind of giving him the perfect audience of being mostly teens and young adults in the area.
Yeah.
It's a great idea, and to bring those powerful performers together, Ike and Audrey and Andy, that's just really tremendous. I know the tickets are mostly sold out. You have a great evening planned. So if people wanted to learn more or get tickets, like what can people expect for the day?
Well, for us, if you still want to get tickets, we have on 2 different ways. You can go right to our church website, which is stmarysofwestfield.com, and on the right-hand side we have like a countdown clock to the event, and you're able to just click on there and you go over to the ticket office. But Ike and Audrey, I mean, this is an East Coast tour, so they're coming all the way up the East Coast to Mass. We're actually like the top of the peak, and then they start working their way back down. And I know they still have other events, so the 2 places you can go for them is you can either go to IkeandDoloBand.com for Ike or AudreyAssad.com, and both of them have, like, right on their page, they have the tour, and you're able to click on it and you're able to see, because they're going to North Carolina, Maryland, Mass, New York. I mean, so they're all over the place, but we still have a few left.
Just a few, though. Just a few.
I'm jamming them in there that night.
That's good. Good for you.
Well, we thank you so much, Tim, for being here, and we encourage people to check out, if they can't go to this one, but check out any more tour dates in the future. And I'm sure you're going to have some more in the future, too, at St. Mary's.
Absolutely. Yeah. Thank you for having me.
Well,
Thanks, our pleasure.
Before we go, we wanted to say something about Father Reed getting an award.
Father Reed, yes, Father Reed. He's just been a pioneer for us here in social media. And the Daughters of St. Paul, who are great friends to Catholic TV, they've recognized him with the Cordero Award, which recognized someone who has promoted Catholics and our teachings through the media, and they've recognized Father Robert Reed, and that's certainly a good choice on their part. And we'll be celebrating that on September 18th and on Sunday, so check out the Daughters of St. Paul website if you want to come and have high tea with us and honor Father Reed.
Excellent. We thank Tim for being here. We thank Rob as well. We thank you for being here as well. God bless everyone. Have a great day.